I'm sure you've asked yourself, just like I do once in a while, what is art anyway? Well, first of all, I want to thank you for dropping in and hanging out with me for these few minutes. My name is Robert McAfee. I'm a Canadian landscape artist. And basically, what that means is I make art about about landscapes that move me, that excite me, that I enjoy going out and taking long drives and stopping wherever my heart feels and just taking pictures or drawing sketches, and even sometimes taking a stool and my little paint box and painting out there. And they call that en plein air, which is just a fancy way of saying painting outdoors. Well, I digress. Here I am in my studio at home, and well, this isn't fancy watercolor paper or anything expensive. This is just my daily journal that my son bought for me, and he said, "Dad, every day I want you to write something or doodle or both, and keep a 1 year journal of your activities and thoughts and emotions as an artist." So that's what this is. For those of you that know what watercolor paper is, you know that I'm not working on anything expensive here. It's quite ripply. That's what happens when you work on plain old paper. But we're using water, and we've got paints that are on a little tray in cubes. And when we dip a wet brush in the water and then into the cubes, we get a mixture of color, and that's called watercolor. So what I'm working on here is a watercolor. And well, it's not just a watercolor, but it's an abstract watercolor. Now, I just said a few moments ago that I'm a landscape painter, but in truth, what I am is an artist first. And I just love to take the leash off my brushes and open the gate of my colors and just let my hand brush and colors go wherever they feel like going and produce whatever they feel like producing. And some days I feel like painting trees and rivers and lakes. It's what I do most of the time. It's how I've made my living for the last almost 20 years. But sometimes I like to just play with color. And that's where abstract comes in. So, what is abstract art? Well, abstract art is when you basically don't try to produce anything that is a recognizable shape, like a car or a tree or an apple, but you just use color and shapes and materials and found things and whatever to create an image that is sort of an extension of your emotions and your soul. And hopefully you can organize your colors into something that's relatable to each other, but makes some sense on the paper or canvas or whatever surface you're working on. And usually abstracts are done in layers. You notice with this watercolor abstract that I started with very thin, very light, watered down blocking in or basic colors. And in between each layer, I got my blow dryer out and, well, I guess I cheated a little bit. Well, that's not really cheating. It's another way of using tools to create art. And I'm so impatient. I don't have time to wait around forever. So I get the blow dryer out and I kind of move the layers along. And I like to tape the edges like you see here with green painter's tape. You'll see how that looks when I peel it off. The big reveal is coming, so hang in there. But each time I dry it and come back with a stronger application of watercolor. And you'll notice that the water is pooling and dripping, and I use the blow dryer to push the water. And I tip the pages and I lift the pad up so that the water kind of drips and runs. Gosh, that's fun. Oh, I get carried away. But it's such a pleasure to just set your soul free and just, well, there's nobody hanging over your head giving you the rule book or making sure you stay within the lines or drive the speed limit. Nope, this is all up to you. And this one's all up to me. So there's the blow dryer again. And I've got my foundation of colors pretty much here. Red and blue. And when you mix red and blue, you get a kind of a purple. And so that is starting to take place here. And I'm starting to feel like there's some direction and definition. So now I'm just adding a very transparent layer of orange, which is just going to warm up the whole painting and give it a little bit of coziness. Now, if you hear some scratching in the background, it's my cat clawing on my chair. I can't help it. When you got cats, well, they love you to death, but they scratch on chairs. And it shows up on your YouTube videos, and you just can't help it. I'm using the blow dryer again here because I really want to move along, and I don't want to take all day to work on this little demonstration, and you don't have all day either, so let's get on with it. Now I'm going to bring in a little bit of what they call acrylic paint. This is like a plastic product, and it goes on very strong. The colors are quite dynamic, and I feel like that's what makes the color punch on this little watercolor abstract. So I really want to get some red in here, and that's exactly what I've done. And look how thick it is, and when I blow dryer it, it's pushing it around. Wow, it's almost like the paint is alive and it's moving. Look at that. Tip the brush, tip the page, tip the book. All the while you're blow drying and you're pushing, and it's going to run off. There it goes. Takes off in one direction. There goes another one. And as this dries, it's going to dry quite thick and quite textured. All of that on top of the softness of the watercolor. Can you feel the excitement? I do. I just love the buildup of color. I just love the way it gets so deep and so luscious and so, well, if it were something edible, I'd probably want to eat it right now. Well, anyway, I'm getting carried away again. But I think my little abstract here is pretty much done, so I'm going to just peel off the tape. Yep, here's the big reveal. Look at that. Now, it's not watercolor paper, so it's not going to be a super clean, sharp line, edge, whatever you call it. Look how a little bit rough it is. But I kind of like that too, because that's kind of lends itself to the vibe and the character of my abstract. Sorry about my big hand in the way there. But look at those rough edges. I kind of like that. It's bled under the tape a little bit, and it really looks cool. Gosh, the accidents, what I call the that Bob Ross line, happy accidents. Hey, don't forget to sign your name. That way people will know who did this little masterpiece. And the sound effects compliments of Cobalt, my kitty cat in the background. And if you've enjoyed hanging out with me today, don't forget to like and subscribe. That way YouTube will know you are here, and they'll recommend you future videos, and then you can also recommend them to others as well. Thanks for dropping in, everyone. We'll see you again soon, right here on The Robert Painter on YouTube.